All right, Brian Niccol, Chipotle CEO. Always good to speak with you. Thanks for joining Yahoo Finance.
Yeah, Brian, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I think a part of understanding some of the trends you're seeing in your business, we got to go back a little bit. In March, we're at the height of the pandemic. Your same-store sales, down over 30%. As a veteran in this industry, what were you thinking at the time?
It was one of those moments where, as a team, you're sitting there going like, okay, the main thing for us to focus on here is to figure out what we need to be doing. And I've gotten a lot of feedback from our teams as I've gotten out to the restaurant. They really appreciated I think the calmness and the consistent communication that we provided. But yeah, there were a lot of unknowns. The thing that I did feel good about was, as it became clear that we could keep our restaurants open for off-premise dining, I was really pleased with all the investments we had made in our digital business. So I wasn't sure exactly how we're going to weather the storm, but I knew we had a fighting chance because we had that digital system in place.
How do you get from point A to point B when it seems as though the sky is falling? You don't know if it's up is up, and you don't know if down is down. How do you go from sales at that point to putting in a plan to drive a turnaround?
Yeah, look, we were very fortunate. Oddly enough, back in like January or February, Jack and I were talking, and I said, hey, Jack, I'm just curious if this COVID issue in China actually does show up in the United States. What's our cash position look like to be able to weather this storm? Are we good for 6 months, a year, 2 years? Where are we? And the good news was we kind of looked at worst case scenario where we had to close the restaurants, and we realized, hey, we were in a really good place from a balance sheet standpoint to weather this for a long time. And nobody on our team thought this would go longer than a year, and it turns out it may end up going longer than a year, but obviously we're going to be able to be running operations in some form or fashion. So once we knew we had liquidity, we felt pretty good about being able to invest in our people and pivot to our digital system. But that was a huge comfort to know that we can run our operation for an extended period of time while we really get clarity on the situation.
And how's the business doing now?
Well, you probably saw our most recent earnings release. We have definitely bounced back from the lows, and the digital business continues to be really the leading piece of our business. Nicely, though, we are seeing our dining room business start to come back in various parts of the country. And as we had hoped, we would hang on to the bulk of all the gains we made in our digital business while we recover our dining room business. And that's what we're starting to see play out. And that's what drove the positive comps of late that we just shared in our most recent earnings release. So we're feeling good about where we are. We're feeling very optimistic about where we will get to in the future. We've got great teams with great people. As I mentioned, we have a terrific balance sheet, so we're in a very good spot to be able to invest in the things that we think will continue to grow our business going forward.
What is it about Chipotle's food? Why have you seen that business bounce back? I've seen it at Chipotle, I've seen it at Domino's, I've seen it at Papa John's, but I don't necessarily see it at some of the burger chains.
Yeah, look, I think what has always set Chipotle's food apart is the fact that we have a different approach to, culinary, and we also have a different approach to our supply chain. So, I think as people turned to food for some form of comfort, they felt really good about choosing Chipotle. Luckily, we've been a great solution for people from a value standpoint, from a quality standpoint. And then if you think about our off-premise and safety standpoint, those were other things that really came to the forefront. So, we were very fortunate to have a strong culinary brand, a strong culinary food culture. And then when you wrap that up with great value, great safety, and then tremendous access, it's, proven to be very powerful in these times.
If I have this number right, 25% of your digital sales are in fact delivery. And you work with a lot of these third-party aggregators, but delivery has become a big component of your business. Is there any thought or discussion to build out your own delivery network?
As of right now, we're not planning on doing that, but we are definitely partnering up with all of the delivery aggregators. And, it's been a good relationship where both of us have figured out how to grow our businesses in a smart economic fashion. I wouldn't say never, but right now that's not in our plans.
Give us your big pie in the sky view on the future of the restaurant. What is the what does the Chipotle of the future look like? Is it smaller? Does it even have seats inside of it?
Yeah, look, I think there's still going to be a place for Chipotle dining rooms. I just think you're going to see, in our case, a new mix in our portfolio, right? We've now got access points with Chipotle where you can order ahead, get it through our pickup window, not even having to get out of your car. You've got the order ahead business where you can, order ahead, run in, grab your food and go. You've got the business where you, obviously come into the restaurant, go through the line, grab your food and go. And I think with those different types of access points, it allows us now to execute different restaurant formats. But I think there's a place and a time for each one of those formats. So I think you're going to see Chipotle of the future where we just have a much greater blend of access points. So you'll see some Chipotle full restaurants where I got all those access points I just described, all the way to maybe a Chipotle only restaurant. And what that provides for us is the access to trade areas that before maybe we said, we can't go into that trade area. Now we think we can.
You operate over 2,600 restaurants. How many of those are equipped for a drive-thru?
Yeah, so it's right around 2,700 restaurants now. And, we're working through right now, what are the ones we could remodel versus what are the ones we might relocate? And, ideally, we'd love to have every Chipotle have the ability to do Chipotle. That's probably not a reality here in the near term, but the bulk of what we're building going forward will be Chipotles. And, I think our future is not 3,000 restaurants, not 5,000 restaurants. I think it's 6,000 plus restaurants. And a large majority of those will have Chipotles. And that's really exciting for our business.
Brian, you must be looking at my notes because I did want to ask you about the 5,000 restaurant goal. There's a lot of people on Wall Street that could continue to use this number. So you actually see 6,000. Where's the extra 1,000? Is it these smaller pickup locations?
Yeah, look, I just think what we're finding is as we look at trade areas with these different, call it restaurant formats, it provides us more access to real estate. And I just think we're going to go beyond 5,000. And, look, what I say to everybody when they ask me the question, like, well, is it 5,000? Is it 6,000? I know we've got tremendous growth in front of us. And, I'm very optimistic about people wanting our food and then wanting these different type of access points to our great food.
I remember the first time I talked to you, I think it was back at a Yum Brands Investor Day, and I remember peppering you with questions about food. I always ask you about what's coming next in food, and you've had some big moments since joining Chipotle. Lifestyle bowls, now new cheese, now new cauliflower rice. What's your future product? What else is in your pipeline?
Yeah, so obviously one of the other things that was a big hit was carne asada, which was a personal favorite. But, we're continuing to experiment. We just launched these new beverages, Tractor beverages. And you mentioned the cauliflower rice that we're testing. And we're getting ready to test a brisket, which is just fabulous.
Brisket?
It's got a terrific, taste profile. And we got this Chipotle barbecue sauce that goes on it. I think it's spectacular. We got to put it into test, see how consumers react. But I'm pretty optimistic about that one as well.
I'm definitely down to ordering one of those. But let me, without getting too geeked out here on the food, why not something portable? You have certainly that background on portable food. If the inside of the restaurants, if we're not going to have seats in there and everything's on the go, will we start to see more portable food out of Chipotle?
Well, look, I think our burrito already is like a tremendous vehicle for portability, whether you want it for delivery or eating it on the go. Obviously, we've talked about this. We're continuing to test quesadillas. That's something that, we're looking at how we can pull off maybe digital only. I had an experience in one of our markets, specifically Cleveland, where we're testing quesadillas. It was great. I ordered in the app. I set it up for pickup from the Chipotle. I got to the Chipotle line, took me all of 30 seconds. I reserved my time. The quesadilla comes out. I grab it. It's in the car. I was saying to the guys, I was like, the problem is it's almost too hot. Like I got it. It was such an on-time experience. It was so piping hot, but it's Chipotle's food, so it tasted spectacular, right? A barbacoa quesadilla, man, with a little guac, it was a home run. So, I'm optimistic about how we can continue to use our bowls, our burritos, and then we'll experiment with a quesadilla, which is the number one requested item from our customers. Frankly, a lot of customers ask for it off menu today. So we're trying to figure out how we can make it in a more efficient way and also give people, I think, a better quesadilla experience.
Well, I've been all about that keto lifestyle bowl since it dropped. But I did want to switch gears. Last question here.
Yeah.
On the leadership front. This has been a situation we have never seen before. How do you keep thousands of employees working hard, motivated, and above all else, just feeling safe that they can come to work and get the job done in a safe way?
Yeah, Brian, that was a focus point from day one. When we started to understand what was going on with COVID, the first place we started with is, all right, are our people safe to work in the restaurants? And when we understood that a lot of our food safety practices and wellness protocols put us in a safe working environment, the next thing we turned to is, can we run the operation? And fortunately, as I've been able to visit restaurants, so many of our employees have been so grateful that we've been able to keep the restaurants open. We've been able to support them both financially as well as with other benefits around health benefits and, just supporting them with paid sick leave and so on and so forth. Tremendous amount of gratitude. The thing that I think COVID enabled this organization to do much better was just communicate. We really ramped up our communication with every single person in this company. And we were talking, daily, not just as a leadership team, but as an organization. And, when it's 80,000+ employees, that was something that we spent a lot of time on to making sure that we communicated with people so they understood, hey, this is what we understand the situation to be. Your safety is our priority. The good news is we're in a strong place from a balance sheet standpoint. We're in a really good place from a food safety and wellness standpoint. We're going to be able to keep running these restaurants, and we're going to keep supporting you through this crisis. And, I feel like it's been oversaid, but it's amazing what when people decide to come together, they get rallied around one thing. And our one thing was, let's keep this place safe. Let's keep people employed. Those things really were our focus for our time being. And, I think it paid big dividends.
Well, Brian, you got a lot going right at Chipotle. The stock's up close to 400% since you joined the company. Cauliflower rice, lifestyle bowls, motivating thousands of employees, red hot quesadillas. You've really hit a lot of home runs there. Brian Niccol, Chipotle CEO, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Great to be with you again.